Pack episode 24, Powdered Eggs. The sunlight hit my eyes, and it took me a moment to realize where I was. It was a bit of a scare to wake up outside my fence. Are you awake? I heard. I sat up and looked down behind me. Denny was on his back, looking up. We must have shifted in the night. I'd been using his arm as a pillow as he lay flat behind me. He didn't smile, but I took it as nervousness. That awkward, vulnerable moment. I can't identify what I'm feeling most of the time, but I did know if I cracked a joke about his hair, it would hurt him more than saying nothing. God, did you sleep at all like that? I asked, making sure to smile. Enough, he replied. You slept well, though. He laughed. You drool, he said, pretending to wipe at his arm as he sat up. Shut up, shut up, I laughed loudly, knowing my face was on the blanket. He smiled. Thank you, I said. You didn't have to. The transaction is already done, he interrupted with a wink, hopping up and dusting off. What time are we going to the dead man's house? I'm your backup. I think a few will be coming. I should make breakfast. We can see who all wants to go and strategize. I figure Ray and Jackson will be here soon. Maybe Ivan. All right, I'm going to go clean up. I'll be back, he replied. See you in a few? I smiled, turning to my gate. I felt warm, solid, safe as I opened the door, and was pleased to find the air inside was still cool despite the door being shut all night. I closed it behind me and turned on the lantern. I'd forgotten about the blood. Marty was everywhere. Dark patches where it had dried. The water bowl was still out from yesterday. Pink water sat in it. It had evaporated a little, leaving a crust around the top. My bloody clothes still on the ground. Hard to believe, it was only 24 hours ago. I scuffed up the bloody patch of dirt on the floor with my heel, mixing it in with the clean dirt, if there is such a thing. I carefully poured the water over it, making sure not to go so fast that it pooled toward my blanket pile. It soaked in pretty fast, though. I took my hand and patted it flat. I'd have to walk around it until it dried, but the moisture should cool the room some too. V? I heard from outside. It was Ray. He came up dragging 2 bags of cans. I poked my head out and came to the gate. These are from Darcy, he said, tossing the bags over the fence. I was surprised how serious she was about it. Sleep okay? He asked with a wide grin. I looked at him sideways. I saw you earlier, but went back home to not wake you guys up, he replied. Oh God, I wonder if anyone else saw, I said, putting my hand to my forehead. They definitely did. Dave put his finger to his lips and gestured to me to be quiet just now, Ray said with a tease. I groaned. You'll be fine. No one's going to say anything after what you've been through, he assured me. I was hoping they would all be scared of me, not pity me. I laughed. They were scared of you before that. You've just added a new reason, Ray winked as he came inside. Plus, after last night, I think everyone likes Denny anyway. Him and Jackson were clowning around the whole night, entertaining us all. I snorted as I started shuffling through some of the items from yesterday's run. They still sat in bags on my table. Those kids did give us a lot of good stuff. Not that I would admit that to Ray right now. Look, powdered eggs, I said, turning to Ray with surprise. Hey, that's neat. I never thought of that, Ray said. I knew about it. I just don't know where you'd get it, I replied, looking at the instructions. It says to add milk. You think powdered milk would do? He shrugged, flaring his eyes at me. Let's try it, I said with a smile. We can get some breakfast in us, form our war party, and go scope the dead guy's homestead. I never did eat the Pop-Tarts for dinner and was starving. We fried up some scrambled eggs over the fire, along with a side of refried beans. I used some of the sandwich bread to make toast. It was the best breakfast I'd had in over a year, in part because we never did breakfast. Dave came up the way and sat down right away. Jackson, Ivan, and John locked up their gates and joined us next. We all ate and strategized. Denny came up the way. He had on a gray polo and black basketball shorts, clothes I'd found the day before. He wore his new hat and carried his weight bar over his shoulder. He slicked his dirty blonde hair back with water, making it look darker. Jackson ran and jumped in his arms, holding himself up by wrapping his arms tight around him. Denny dropped his weight bar, then spun Jackson around like a new bride, before dipping him low, then setting him awkwardly on the ground, shoulders first. The eggs and beans had grown cold by now, but he didn't complain any. So the place is about 10 minutes away, Jackson announced. It's actually right against the wall. By the wall, He meant the wall to the base, the portion of DeReg the ex-military and off-gridders made claim. The wall is a long row of stacked tires and school buses that circle the southeast corner of DeReg. Like by it? Or literally against the wall? I asked, concerned. You don't have a backyard. Your home is literally against the wall, he replied. I wonder how that works, John said out loud. Like, do they fill in every hole so you can't get in, or do they shoot everyone on sight? I stared at him. I was really curious if I could actually get a peek into the base. It was always such a mystery. You'll see, said Jackson, with a big shit-eating grin. There were things he wasn't telling us, and I half wanted to noogie him to get it out of him. I don't think they'll give you trouble if you don't bug them, Ivan replied. Of all of us, Ivan was the most likely to fit in at the base, so I trusted him at his word. Did it look like anyone was living there that might put up a fight? Ray asked. Nah, not really. It was midday and quiet. Someone might have moved on it now, but as of yesterday, I think it's ours to take. I mean V's to take. All of us, in her name. It's hers. We're just helping her. He stammered on until Ivan cut him off. How is the layout? Is there only one path of approach? Ray asked. Right. Is there any cover? Or are we going to be funneled in? Ivan added. I was surprised by this. I guess I hadn't pictured a firefight. I had imagined some bullying followed by taking it over. Has anyone here ever claimed a property like this before? I asked. Everyone was quiet. I don't think he lived with anybody. He's obviously not gay, and he obviously didn't have a woman if he was coming here to... Dave stopped mid-sentence, looking at me, having said the thing everyone was trying not to say. Ray spoke up quickly. Well, let's get to it. He stood up, and we all followed suit. Denny carried in the dishes. I grabbed the keys, my bag, and locked the gate. The whole crew walked down out of the cul-de-sac, took a right, and headed east toward the base and its wall. Ray with his sword in one hand and gun in the other. Ivan with a long machete. Denny with his weight bar. The rest of us carried guns. Episode 25, a DeReg mansion. It was only about a 4-minute walk before Jackson said, "It's right up ahead." He paused with a smile. There were rows of homesteads on both sides leading up to the wall. The road broke off into a T in both directions. Which one? I asked. Right ahead, he replied. My eyes fixed on a good-sized wooden homestead with a big yard there. We walked ahead, and I studied it as we got closer. It was nice, clean, and sturdy. Bigger than mine and well kept. It was such a nice home, I realized it was going to be a harder decision than I thought. Just then, an old woman came out, hunched over, carrying a pot. My heart sank. There is a grandma, I said quietly. Everyone stopped to look at me before turning to look at her. Everyone saw her right away, except for Jackson. The energy dropped. None of us wanted to put an old lady out. Where? What are you talking about? Jackson asked, looking ahead. I pointed to her. Oh, that's Margie, he replied. Not that one. This one. He pointed to the lot next to it, the one that was actually in front of us. It looks empty to me, he continued. All of us looked at the correct lot. We looked it up and down, left to right, trying to assess if it was true, mouths open. My brain didn't even register that plot as a possibility. You sure? I finally said. Positive, Jackson replied. I talked to half the people over here already. Fun fact, he was an asshole, he said with a broad smile. I blinked slowly, taking in the entire lot. Ray looked over at me. Then I looked at Denny. Others kept staring. There was a tall chain-link fence with barbed wire on top, like a compound. There was a real gate. It only needed one padlock right at the clasp of what appeared to be a working fence door. Inside was a lot of empty space that had various boxes and bags of parts and scraps. The yard alone was larger than my entire lot, and all of this sat in front of the biggest RV I'd ever seen. I couldn't believe it. It had several sections where the walls extended out to make it bigger inside. It wasn't new, but it probably was when they drove it in here. The wheels were flat and it sat on its rims. Surrounding the bottom was a skirt that covered the underneath. A large awning sat open, shading an area with chairs and a table. Water bottles lay around. There was a barbecue grill, water barrels, and a burning barrel. The rooftop was nothing but solar panels. It was a palace. Holy shit, Ray said quietly. There's a catch. The voice in the back of my mind hissed at me. I could feel everyone's excitement boiling up as we stood quietly. This is a setup, you idiot. You have an RV, Dave yelled. Girlie, you got you an RV. You're so stupid, it's a setup. This is a setup, I said with a fast exhale. Only Ray heard me. They planned this. They sent him to me, I said, backing away, shaking my head. Ray turned to go after me, but the guys were so caught up they didn't notice as they walked up to the lot. Denny stood confused in his place as I continued walking away. They're trying to trap you. They're watching. V, stop it. This is a blessing, Ray said, grabbing my arm. Their cameras are watching you. No, it's not. That thing will be covered in cameras, I replied, hissing. They'll do anything to have me back on, Ray. They couldn't scare me into leaving DeReg, so they've made a place where they can watch me here. V, you've got to cut this out. No one is trying to watch you. You're not on TV, Ray said, stopping in front of me. I looked up at him. He had no clue. They're trying to watch you. Why is he always so pushy about this? He's one of them. My eyes narrowed. I'm not their fucking pawn, Ray. You're either with me or you're with them, I scowled. They own you. You can't escape. No, they don't. I'm in charge, I growled. Realizing he wasn't going to talk me out of it, he changed his method. We'll search the thing top to bottom for cameras and bugs, he suggested. They'll see you. They'll still see me, I replied. So what? All they'll see is you and 6 men knocking out camera after camera, he said. Just stay emotionless, and they'll have nothing worth using. It's no different than going to the store. I shook my head, gritting my teeth. He was right. V, you're in charge of your life. This is yours to take, he assured me. He was right. I needed to relax and claim what's mine. I'm in charge. So what if they are watching? If there's even one camera, I'm not staying here. You can have it if you like it so much, I replied. There won't be. I promise you. If you want to go back, we can search for you, he said, putting his hands on my shoulders. They're all in on it. No, they're not, I whispered. Not Ray. I shook my head. I needed to see for myself. I heard Denny walking up on us and turned to look at him. Ray took notice of a guy in his yard nearby who had been watching us and spoke to him. The RV at the end of the road here. How long did that guy live here? Ray asked the man, hoping to gather evidence that it wasn't a setup. Longer than I have, the guy shrugged. Ray was impatient, speaking slowly for him. And how long have you lived here? A few years, he replied. Are you the guy that gutted him? Saw him on the dead list yesterday. No, she did, Ray replied, pointing to me. The guy's eyebrows went up. Yikes, are you okay? He turned to me. I stared at him, a little angry. Why would he be impressed by Ray but pity me? Better than he is, I said deadpan.